Is this the most advanced smartphone on the market? Let's have a look. Dave Taylor here, and I'm checking out this. Well, let me go back to the home screen. This is the Samsung Galaxy Note 20 Ultra 5G, and it's spectacular. It's an amazing phone. This is really like every modern technology you can jam into a phone, Samsung has put into this device. Now, it's big, it is a little heavy, the camera outdent on the back is a little clumsy, so it really begs to have a case, but holy cow, the technology. So, let's start from the top. It is powered by a Qualcomm Snapdragon 865 Plus octa-core with one 3.09 gigahertz core, three 2.4 gigahertz cores, and if you're doing your numbers, four 1.8 gigahertz cores. It's a lot of cores. And let's see, go back here again, go to the gallery. This display, I'll just do it this way, is a 120 hertz dynamic AMO LED screen running at 3088 by 1440. That is a lot of pixels jammed on the screen, and that's why these pictures, everything on this phone is just gorgeous. So it is an adaptive display, which means if you're watching something at 60 hertz or 50 hertz, it will actually adapt the display refresh cycle to maximize how pretty and nice it is. That's really slick. Features either 128 gig or 512 gig. When we get to price, you will find it is rather crushingly expensive with 512 gig. It does also have up to 1 terabyte of micro SD if you want to put it into the same little pop-out slot that you put your SIM card in. 1 terabyte plus 512 gigabytes. Who the heck needs 1.5 terabytes of storage on their smartphone? I don't know, but if you want it, this supports it. That's a lot of memory. That's a lot. Let's again go back to the home screen. So it is Gorilla Glass 7, so it's not the very latest Gorilla Glass Victus, but Gorilla Glass 7 is pretty tough, which is good because it is that sort of wraparound screen, and if you don't have it in a case, it is going to take a fair amount of abuse just sort of naturally, because that's what we do with our smartphones. Now, I have a ton of sample photos and videos, but before I show you them, let me just tell you that the rear features multiple cameras. It is 108 megapixel. Yes, you heard me. 108 megapixel rear-facing camera and a 12 megapixel camera. And that gives you, they have something called laser autofocus, so you can get zoom up to 50x, and I'll show you an example of that. It's staggering. It's really impressive. And the video, you can record 4K at 60 frames per second or 8K at 24 frames per second. So you can actually use this. Honestly, this is like cinematic quality. This is really plenty enough that, especially if you have a tripod handy, you could be using this as B-roll or background footage or even primary footage for a movie. Amazing, really. The front is a 10 megapixel, it's a tricky word there, 10 megapixel camera too, so even that's pretty impressive. But I don't want to talk about it, I want to show you. These are so cool. So first off, here's the view you would see on the phone if you're taking a shot. You can see it's a pretty standard Android camera, but let's go into zoom. So I'm going to start with wide angle, then we have a normal shot, then we have zoom, and you're thinking, oh, that's pretty nice. But then we get into the digital zooms. So now we have more zoom, and then this is maximum 50x zoom. And look at that, it's not pixelated. There's no artifacting. It's very impressive. And even better, here's an example of me doing a 20x zoom on moving water. Now, it was a perfectly lit day, really bright, direct sunshine, but that's crazy impressive. This is the kind of shot I would expect to be getting with like a Nikon or Canon DSLR for a couple of $1,000, and it's just off my smartphone. Amazing, huh? For a selfie, look at the detail and the nuance in the skin tone on this shot. Very impressive. Finally, for photos, here's a macro shot, and I'm going to zoom in with the video editing software I used to build this review, but notice that, this is a static photo off of the Note 20 Ultra. Now, let's get into video, because video is just as impressive. So we're going to start with just a video shot of that moving water, and partway through you'll see I zoom. Now, same shot, also from a tripod. I'm going to do this in slow motion. And then this third shot is time lapse, which is a little weird to use with moving water, but it is kind of fun. It's just like this stream's running super fast. The photos, the video, darn impressive. But let's keep talking about some of the other specs on this. So, 4,500 milliamp hour battery, which gives you 35 hours of talk time and 12 days of standby. Basically, you'll be charging this basically every 2 days, and that's actually pretty darn nice. And let's see, so it's 5G, right? So it's the very latest cell phone technology, so it supports both 5G and 5G plus, which is really handy. It does not include barking. That is actually my dog. We'll just ignore him and hopefully that he'll stop barking. So, quad band world support, so you can use this phone really kind of anywhere in the world and get great results and be online. And let's see, it supports Wi-Fi 6, which is also the very latest generation of Wi-Fi net technology, and that's also known as 802.11ax. So if you see phones just list 802.11 A, B, C, N, A, AC, that's not Wi-Fi 6. Wi-Fi 6 is AX. I know how we're supposed to know all these acronyms is a little beyond me, but that's how it goes. The eco score for this is impressive. It gets a 20 out of 20 on its eco score, so they're using sustainable as best they can and recyclable materials. The packaging is all well done. In fact, I did an unboxing too. If you want to jump over and check out that shows you everything that's in the box that it comes with, which is pretty handy. And let me give you a tour of all the edges on the back, because I know people like that. So on the top, you can see there is basically the SIM slot. That is also where you'd put your micro SD card. On the left, nothing. On the right, the classic Android volume up, down, and power buttons, and power is lower, not higher. And on the bottom, you have USB-C for charging. You have the speaker cutout. You have, and this is one of my very favorite features in the Note 20. Everyone that has a Note knows this. It has a stylus, and you can write directly on screen. So let me just let's see, exit tutorial. And I think the easiest way to do this actually is to wake it up with the stylus, which is really great design if you think about it. So here I am, my phone's asleep, and I suddenly need to take a note, so I pull out the stylus, and now I can just write on the screen. And that is pretty slick. If you need to take quick notes or do a doodle or something, this is your phone, and it's super easy and fun. And of course, it comes with drawing programs and all that, so very cool. So let's see, so those are all the different edges. On the back, you can see it's a pretty honking camera. It sticks out, and it is just like, like having a little tiny camera glued to the back of the phone. Now, again, to me, this just begs to have a case that's going to protect that, so it's not constantly getting the pressure every time you put it down or anything. But that's up to you. I'm sure it's pretty darn durable with that Gorilla Glass. Now, USB-C charging, but it also, thanks to this little wireless charging device from OtterBox, I can demonstrate that it also does wireless charging. So between the two, you are good to go. You can get like lots of power. It's going to last a long time, and you're going to be having so much fun using it anyway that you're just going to have a good time. Now, let's see, dimensions. It is, let me go ahead and unlock it, and it does have face unlock, which is why I'm just looking at it, and then suddenly it unlocks. So it's 6.5 inches tall by 3 inches wide by 3/10 of an inch deep, and it's 7.4 ounces, so it's actually pretty light for something this size. And that's pretty much all I have to say about it. I mean, in terms of the specs, this is a glorious phone. This is a really fun phone, and the photographs are just breathtaking. This has such a powerful camera that I would say, at least at this moment in time, it's probably the best camera on a smartphone on the market. Now, will that change tomorrow? Probably. But for right now, if you want to have a really nice big phone with right on screen and Wi-Fi 6 and 5G, and you want to be able to get great videos and photos, then this is a solid option to check out. So, only thing left to talk about is the price, and it is pretty expensive. But before we get there, I'm going to ask if you can subscribe to my channel. I get access to tons of gear. I'm straightforward, I'm honest, I give you the straight scoop. I don't just hype things, so I'll tell you the good and the bad. So please click or tap on that subscribe button and subscribe to my channel. Great. Now, this is the bronze color, and I really like it, but it also comes in black or white. And of course, when you're looking at the front, because it has that wraparound screen, you don't really see the color of it. So if you put this in a case, arguably, you'll never know what the color is other than maybe what's around the edges on the camera part. But generally speaking, pick the color you like the most. Why not, right? So at its minimum configuration, it's 128 gig, and if you get it through AT&T, and AT&T is the company that very generously sent me this to check out, if you get it through AT&T, you can simply add it to your bill for $43.34 a month for 30 months, or you can buy flat out the 128 gig configuration at $1299.99. Yeah, $1,300. Now, let's say instead you say, oh, 128 gig, that is way insufficient. I need 512 gig. All right, so now you have the maximum configuration. And just to give you an idea of how much more that is, the flat rate to buy that full out is $1,449.99, which is basically $1,500 out the door for a smartphone. So that possibly also makes this the most expensive smartphone in the world. Is it worth it? Well, it is a heck of a phone. It has an amazing array of technologies. Is it something that you should logically spend $1,500 on? I can't say. Maybe for you that's a totally reasonable expenditure, and it's more than worth its weight and more than worth its price. For other people, of course, $1,500 is way out of their price range, in which case there are many other phones on the market, honestly in the $200, $300, $400 range that are pretty solid too. They ain't the NOTE20 Ultra 5G, but they're still pretty good. If you can afford it, and if you want the top of the line, state of the art, then this is your phone, the Samsung Galaxy Note 20 Ultra 5G. And as for me, I'm gonna go and watch a movie on this. The screen's that good, which means I'll catch you in my next video.